welcome to the University of Michigan Museum of Art. You're in my studio right now, and you can see that I have behind me, there's one of my faces project that we're going to be doing today. I'm a docent at the Art Museum. I'm also an artist, and I'm doing this little online tutorial for you you can learn about value, you can learn about showing emotions with color and with how to create contrast in your artwork, and we'll talk some about color. So let's get ready and we'll talk about our materials first. So you can see that we have to have glue. You can use Elmer's or school glue, but it works very well, of course. And I have some scissors and a ruler, just in case. You don't have to be that detailed at all about using a ruler, but some people like to be, and that's great. I have a pencil to write down notes or to create outlines, and markers. Also, we have lots of papers. You actually could use your own hand-decorated papers, for example, paper bags or just white copy paper, and make marks on it or stamps on it. You can use different items to scrape on it, scratch colors in. So you could make your own papers. However, mine are mainly scrapbooking papers. I have done some with also taking out pieces out of magazines. That's really fun. I'm going to show you another one that I created. So this one you can really see how there's lots of contrast, because I made this for the baby. My son is living with us. So I made this for the baby's room because babies really notice contrast. So the areas of contrast are, of course, the yellow against black. Well, that just jumps out. So I used a really dark face and then a really bright color to make it jump out at you. And then the orange is also very bright. And I used really sharp, strong shapes for pieces to really get the baby's attention. So we have this one, and then also the one that you can see in our images, that is Mr. Spiky. I call him Mr. Spiky. Note the pattern is against plain. That makes it really jump out more, makes it draw your attention more to the different pieces of paper. I also have light on dark. That's also a great way for contrast. And then notice that it's asymmetrical. If you remember what asymmetrical means, you guys have learned about it in math class. It means that it's not a mirror image. It's not exactly the same on both sides. And that kind of gives it a little wonky feeling, throws you off a little bit, off kilter. We'll get onto our papers, and I want to show, we also have one last thing I didn't mention. A support is very nice. Just a big piece, like I had to put this guy on something, right? You could use plain, or you could use a pattern background. I decided to use a pattern background, and then I'm going to put a plain face on it to create that contrast that we talked about. Let me find my head. So your head can be any shape. You can make it somewhat realistic. You could do it like I did mine that were a little wonky. You could make it square. I made mine into an oval so that once that part was done, I could create something a little more individual, a little more unique. So I'm going to make it, I don't know what I'll call this guy or girl, but here's the head now. If you're familiar with a color wheel, there's something called analogous colors, and they are colors that when you put them beside each other, they're always harmonious, and it's because they're closely related. You can see that both these papers have pink. Well, then I kind of go over to this paper that's purple. They are analogous because they're very close to each other on the color wheel. They kind of like a rainbow, they kind of slide into each other. This little piece has blue, which is analogous to this because it would be blue would be the next color over and the rainbow, but it also has a little contrast of green, and it has the purple to pick up the purple. Then I'm going to be using some of this lime green because it picks up the little lime in that paper, and it's also a complementary color of purple, which means that on the color wheel, they are exactly across from each other. They will really enhance each other. They always make each other just jump. A complementary, for example, orange and blue, yellow and purple, which more yellow and violet, and red and green are complementary colors. So let's move on to learning a little bit of background about this. I'm going to work a little while we're doing this. You can see, well, what I'm going to do is start working on an eye for you. And then I'll be telling you a little bit about the background here, about the background of faces. An eye consists of actually many parts. You can use all these parts or you cannot use all these parts. This is up to you. It's your art project. But of course, there's the eyeball. This just, in mine, it's the lavender. There's an iris, which is, in mine, it's the, wait, no. Oh, yes, I am right. Is the white. The pupil I've done with a little black piece with a little flower in it. It's got a little flower in this. I just thought that was a funny little surprise. I'm going to glue them together. I've already glued them together because some things that are really small slip and slide a lot, and then I lose them. I've also made an eyelid for it. I can make eyelashes too, which I will do in a little bit. You see the eyelid goes over the eye now and covers part of the iris, the white part. I suggest that you don't glue the main pieces down yet because you might change your mind. You might find a color you like better. You might find you like a different shape better. So let's keep that open to change. While you're working on it, I would like to show you I'm painting that we have at the University of Michigan Museum of Art gallery. It's called Two Girls Reading. It's by Picasso. If you note, the heads on his faces are not this nice oval, like I was saying is a natural shape. They're very geometric, very unusual shapes for a head. Well, before Picasso started doing stuff like this, the goal was to make it look as realistic as possible. Well, Picasso was very creative, very rebellious in his ways of creating new art. And he decided to make some faces from very geometric shapes. One of the things that he did was he outlined his shapes. You notice that? They're black outlined. That draws your attention even more to the unusual shapes that he has in this portrait. I'd also like to talk about the color. If you notice the orange to the yellow to the gold in the back, those are analogous colors. They're all closely related on the color wheel. The green is actually not that far from it either, but the blue face is the complement of these orange-red colors. So you really, first when you look at this, generally we notice the blue face first because it's different. So the mood that you create can be created with color. They're very somber looking, but their eyes are turned down reading, but their faces don't look particularly happy, right? They're just kind of very flat smile, flat lines. And the girl with the blue is said to have been kind of a sad person. You know, we say, oh, she's feeling blue. So he's communicating with the color too. The one with the green diamond shape, is said to be very jealous of her. There are two women that Picasso knew, and we say green with envy. So he used color to tell the story here. It's not much pattern. It's all in solid, but it's those black outlines that really create the contrast. I'm going to show you another one that's in the art museum while you're cutting, and starting to arrange things. This one is called Ups and Downs. It's by Tyree Guyton. And Tyree Guyton is a Michigan artist, and he has created a painting using very simple shapes, lines again. But if you look really closely, you will notice, well, first, of course, they're great big smiles. That's the first thing you notice. Then when you look closer, you look at the eyes. The eyes are not really like smiling eyes. They're red, like they've been crying. If you look, there's little tears running down. But on the person on the right, the woman, the tears are rolling up. Maybe that's where the title comes from, Ups and Downs, Tyree Guyton. So the thing that he could be conveying here is that life has ups and downs. Or sometimes you're smiling on the outside, but crying on the inside. And in that way, we're sort of not really telling the truth with our faces. The way he created contrast was to, if you remember the color wheel, on the color wheel, red is directly across from green. So that draws our attention back up to the eyes, away from that huge smiling face. Let's go on to another one. This one is really funny. It's called Figure with Spiders, and it has organic shapes rather than geometric. No, it's not a straight on view like the ones that I've been showing you. It's more of a profile picture, but my gosh, is he frightened? Well, that's because they're in the background there are all these little spiders dangling. I would guess that this artist really, really, really hated spiders. So his shapes for his face are, we call organic. It's like a really not as defined shape, especially the head. The eyes have become a little more in the geometric line, like the round eyeballs. And then there's Mr. Surprise. That's one that I created. And let's think more about how that was done. The top part of his head is actually done with a piece of a magazine. And then I just used different colors for the eyes and cut them into squares like I've done with this one. And kind of rectangular, odd shapes. This doesn't even have to be on. This, you can be as playful as you want, and we'll be mixing them up, changing them around, putting on, maybe I'll give this one a white eyeball. And when I glue it on, so you can see that. And I'm using my analogous colors here. I've got 2 purples, and I'm going to go with some more purple. This is actually a very, very dark purple. Make an iris out of this. And I'll make an eyelid. Maybe I'll go the other direction now, or not other direction, but I'll go to the pink so that I'm staying in that analogous color range. So there you go. There are 2 different kinds of eyes. The eyes could be the same or 2 different ones. I really, really like this stripy piece. So I'll probably cut this to fit into here somehow. And maybe I will put on this side and repeat this purple one. So noses, there's many shapes you could use for a nose. You could use, it's kind of like making a jack-o'-lantern. You could use triangles. You can see Mr. Surprise has an elongated nose. I really want the nose to show up. So how am I going to do that? I am going to use a lot of contrast. So I'm going to use this black piece, black with flowers. And it's patterned against kind of plain with a white background. Once I glue these on, I can trim these into a face shape. what other things do we need for a face? Well, we need a mouth, and we need eyebrows. Eyebrows are very, very expressive. Let's see what this one for a mouth. I might just go crazy and use red lips for a mouth. And I'm going to do it in two pieces. I'm going to do an upper lips and the lower lips. You could do just like a round mouth. You could do a heart-shaped mouth. You can do a straight line mouth, like the one that we were looking at of Picasso's. They have the very straight line mouth and not really smiling or anything. You can make a big smiling mouth. So fun. As artists, we have many choices to choose from, many decisions to make. Don't get frustrated. You know, they say that being an artist really is being a problem solver. How do I make this show up? How do I make that go together? And I believe that it's true too. Let's give him some teeth inside of there. Oh, I got two teeth that are really, really give her a silly look now. Oh, and there's hair. We can put hair. We can put hair ornaments, beads, butterflies, hair, all different kinds of things we could use for hair. I think I want to make sure the hair shows up against this black background. So I'm going to just try this gray. I know you guys will create something really beautiful or really crazy, really wonderful and creative. Picasso said, all children are artists. The trick is to remember how to be an artist, because we're all born with that creativity. What do you think? That worked pretty well? Yeah, that would show up against the black. I hope that you feel that you have enough information to carry on. If some part's not showing up, I feel like maybe this nose isn't showing up so well, you can change it. You can do something completely different. To make it show up, I might try. This doesn't fit in at all. I don't know. So that would be that opportunity to use huge contrast. Something that is a big surprise creates a contrast too. Like that nose better? I do. So if these were closer together, and we've got all these little pieces. I can give it a chin. Oh, eyebrows. Let's see. That piece that I cut for the nose might make nice eyebrows. If it doesn't work somewhere, use your paper somewhere else. Just keep trying. Oh, that works. Can play with mad eyebrows, happy eyebrows. The last slide I'd like to share with you is where Picasso got his inspiration for making the faces that you saw. They're called Cubist Style. And he was looking at some African art and he noticed that they were not realistic at all. They were abstract. What abstract means taking the reality out of it, and you end up with very basic bits and pieces of something. So this mask that you're looking at is called a royal mask. We have this at the Art Museum. It's Moash, a boy. It's a Cuba. which are from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And it's not collage, of course, and it's not painted. This one is sculptural. It has cowrie shells, wood, textiles, which, hey, I could glue things like that onto mine too if I want. That would be super cool. So it's really, really simplified down. The eyes don't even have the eyeballs on that one, but they do have the eyebrows. So you could see where he got his inspiration to just jump off from reality and go a completely different direction. Thank you for joining us today at the University of Michigan Museum of Art. And I hope you get a chance to make some more faces. It seems like once you start, you get lots of ideas. Go through magazines. You might even see more collage faces in magazines and get ideas. You'll certainly find interesting papers. I hope it's a great jumping off point for you, and you can make a lot of them with the rest of the summer or the fall. And watch for more informational PowerPoints on making art at the museum.